Darn it, Perry. Why do all the interesting men I meet have something wrong with them? Superman can't marry me because of his responsibilities, and Lieutenant Hunt is hovering between life and death. Some of you already know what's wrong. Your knowledge of medical treatments is about to come in handy for this Lois Lane gets married outing. Greetings, comic lovers, and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from comics new and old to history to anecdotes, really wherever our whims take us. Yes, we should be reviewing modern and trendy things like Batman, Fortress.
In my father's day, the American dream used to mean something. An honest wage for honest work, food on the table, liberty, and justice for all. Cry me.
Nope, can't deal with that right now. Lois Lane gets married it is. I posted a preview panel for this months ago, but you can't just overload the people with Lois Lane. You really can't. The algorithm won't stand for it. Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane 43 features another tale to add to the glorious playlist that is Lois Lane gets married. Even though in this case, it's another almost. It's a bit of a twist. We're subverting expectations. This is a tale of Lois Lane, volunteer nurse, which seems to be by Leo Dorfman, but the art is by, you know it, the MVP of Lois Lane, Kurt Schaffenberger. This issue comes to us from the year 1963, so solidly in the Silver Age. And the story we're going to be looking at was the second, but it was deemed cover-worthy. Lois, her face being caressed by a man in an iron lung. Paul, my darling, as soon as you recover from your operation, we'll be married. You're the first man I've ever known who could make me forget Superman. Don't lie to Paul like that.
Shades of Ben Casey and Dr. Kildare.
Those are both medical dramas, by the way. I understood those references. Those shows both started in 1961 and both got 5 seasons. You didn't need to know that, but now you do.
Lois has fallen in love with her war hero patient. I've lost her for good.
So I guess going forward, it's going to be Superman's ex-girlfriend, Lois Lane. The volunteer nurse story starts off by perpetuating some stereotypes about nursing. Namely, that it's all about emotional warmth and caring, and not about, well, work, and also having to have some strong emotional barriers to contend with the circumstances present at times. They act in this story as if nurses are basically just there to provide emotional comfort. For this story's purposes specifically, it's meant to be a softening of Lois Lane. We have Lois Lane, who's a hard-boiled reporter, and then we have this Lois. She's full of warmth, humanity, and sympathy for the luckless ones who are struck down by misfortune and ill health. They say patients always fall in love with their nurses. That they is misinformed. Judging from the sketch Lieutenant Hunt drew, which shows me as his bride, I guess that saying is true. Did he draw that with crayons? And then Lois requested a shift in her patient rotation, and nothing came of it. You know that's not true. This story opens with Lois taking a photo of Jimmy, who is dressed up like a stereotypical prisoner for an article he's writing on obsolete prison customs. This includes a ball and chain, which Perry comes in and promptly trips right over, and he breaks his leg. Great Caesar's ghost, I can't go to any gosh darn hospital. I've got a newspaper to get out. Ow! Yeah, smacking the table for emphasis broke his hand. Is Perry made of glass? Is this the Silver Age origin story for Glass? I only hope I don't have him for a patient, you cantankerous old slave driver. Whoa! I guess the sympathy for the misfortune of others starts when she actually gets to the hospital, where she's just an angel, helping children walk on crutches, getting Superman's autograph for a giant poster in the children's ward, reading the newspaper to patients. Oh, by the way, Jimmy got demoted to copy boy and then had his pay cut in half. Poor Jimmy. Perry has set up shop in the hospital room and is running the paper from there, and Clark finds all of this hilarious. He's gonna be very absent in the story. He has other things to do. I don't know what they are because we don't see them, but I'm assuming he's doing something. He's been given the assignment of tracking down the 14 Carat gang. They've been pulling off a series of elaborate heists. While hanging out in Perry's room, Lois sees a patient be brought in an iron lung. This patient sure is good looking. I wonder what happened to make him wind up in an iron lung. The man who brought Hot Lung into the room is General Blair, and he says that this is a matter of top secret importance, Pentagon level. That's why he's telling America's most respected editor, Perry White, the most respected editor. The man has run pieces of Jimmy Olsen's fan club on the front page. I have questions about this. The man in the iron lung is Lieutenant Hunt, and he apparently has a bullet lodged in him made out of a strange alloy that they want to remove and study before enemy spies can. This bullet is impacting Hunt's ability to breathe, hence the iron lung, but no American surgeon can remove it. I was about to do like a fainting thing and then I didn't. I don't know, it just stopped midway. If any of them tried, Hunt would die on the table, so they need to go to a Mexican surgeon, Dr. Rivera. Apparently he specialized in MacGuffins. Blair also says that Hunt is the CIA's top undercover man, so they can't lose him, but he's also so humble and just tells everyone he's an artist. Does all of this sound ludicrous? Well, Perry believes all of it. And so begins Lois Lane's infatuation with Perry's roommate. Oh, his eyes are opening. Gosh, I was just dreaming of an angel, and here she is, alive, standing before me. Now ask if it hurt when she fell from heaven. Golly, he's so handsome. He's making my heart do flip-flops. The man is holding her hand. He won't let go. I'll let you go on one condition, that you return tomorrow with the same twinkle in your eye. What, uncontrollable lust? Yeah, I can see why you'd want to see that again. Darn it, Perry. Why do all the interesting men I meet have something wrong with them? Superman can't marry me because of his responsibilities, and Lieutenant Hunt is hovering between life and death. Yeah, how dare he, the inconsiderate cad. The next day is sponge bath day, and he talks all about how great it is that he met her. Thanks for bringing me this drawing paper and pen, Miss Lane. But don't leave. I love talking to you. He's so charming. He thanked me for getting him that pen and paper. This must be what happens when you max out your charisma stats. You can just live your life normally and people are just tripping over themselves. Paul, of course, draws pictures of Lois to show her, which she is very into, because it's as close as she's gotten in a while to a good old-fashioned Lois Lane stalker room. But he won't show her one photo because he says it's too personal. I know what that makes me think of, but that's not what the picture is actually of. It's a picture of the two of them getting married. Perry sees it and overhears Hunt having full-on conversations with himself while asleep about how much he loves Lois, how it was love at first sight. So he decides he needs to play matchmaker because he's so bored at the hospital. So bored. Oh, I'd ask Lois to marry me, but how can I in my condition? But I'll leave everything I own to you. Dear Lois, who knows so little about me. She knows that you're handsome, and for Silver Age Lois Lane, that's about half the battle. Sometimes more. Perry calls Lois over because she has to hear this. Look at how sad Jimmy looks. She comes over with a meal that she says Jimmy sent, which makes Perry increase his wages back to where they were. Maybe Lois's characterization of Perry as a tyrant wasn't that far off. This panel of the heartfelt revelation as Lois views it, contrasted with Perry eating a drumstick, is so good. Quality content. In his very elaborate sleep ramblings, Hunt wonders, could Lois arrange for Superman to fly him down to Dr. Rivera? But Lois loves Superman. So why would she want to help me? Perry, we must get Superman to fly Lieutenant Hunt to Mexico. You must contact him at once. Wow, so Superman hasn't given Lois a way to contact him that isn't just jumping out a window or throwing herself in front of a train? That says a lot. Perry says he will, but he's eating chicken a la pool, so chicken. So they get Superman to help. He has no strong feelings about this one way or the other. He may even be relieved. Maybe this will get Lois out of his hair. Superman describes Lieutenant Hunt's lungs as lead-lined, but based on what happens a bit later, I'm inclined to believe he also meant the iron lung itself, or just meant that. Hunt would not be delivering such romantic monologues in his sleep if his lungs were lead-lined. Perry finds he has a new roommate, another man in iron lung. This one isn't as handsome though, and he makes Lois realize something super obvious that so many people should have spotted. But she doesn't tell anyone. Instead, she flies to Mexico to Dr. Rivera. Hunt! You're not sick! It was a hoax, Lois. That X-ray General Blair alias Dr. Rivera showed Perry was a phony. We're the 14-karat gang. Gang? More like duo. They had to find a way to smuggle their loot out of the country when they read in the paper that Perry was in the hospital. I guess he put that on page 1. Maybe there's a scathing paragraph about Jimmy in there. I hope there is. Once they saw that, they concocted their Lieutenant Hunt, CIA expert, bullet alloy lodged in, need Mexican doctor story. This was so that hopefully they would elicit his sympathy and he would contact Superman. But then when Hunt saw Lois with his nurse, he just decided to pretend to be in love with her because he felt that would be easier. I don't know, Perry was already pretty sold. Hope they installed a compartment to keep Hunt from being crushed by all that gold. Ooh, and paintings. But how did Lois figure it out? Well, first she says that no CIA agent would talk in his sleep, and then she mentions the more important and obvious thing that patients inside of iron lungs have their arms confined inside of them. Guess that volunteer nurse training isn't very extensive, and that no other nurses or doctors ever came in to check on him, or maybe he was like sticking his arms in and out, but then Perry still would have seen him and he should have known better. Or Clark, and then Clark didn't care. It feels like at some point Hunt just started milking it because he couldn't believe it was working so well. Anyway, into the drowning pit death trap beneath the offices for Lois. But not if Superman has anything to say about it. Jimmy lent Lois his signal watch. This is because the food that was brought in, Lois actually brought it, but she lied and said Jimmy did because she felt so bad for him. And she figured that would be what would get Jimmy his wages back and his job. All laugh. The end. Why yes, my attention was drawn back to this story by the horror game making the rounds, Iron Lung. And why yes, then I did go listen to some Jethro Tull. This story is amusing for probably the wrong reasons. It makes most of the characters in it come off as incredibly foolish and inattentive. Volunteer nurse Lois Lane needs to be kept away from any and all handsome patients. Paul Hunt is an interesting one on the suitors list in that he's one of the few non-suitors who doesn't end up actually making a play for her. He was just completely using her. He could see how thirsty she was. That's dedication though, all those drawings. It comes across as extra cruel when their original plan probably would have worked just as well. This story is very filler. It just kind of is there. It's earning its place as the center story. It has its amusing moments, but isn't all too noteworthy outside of no one caring enough to even consider this ludicrous story. Looking at you, Perry. Did Clark even x-ray that that iron lung? No, because again, he didn't care. He was probably just like, another Lois suitor. Let's see where this goes. Maybe I'll be free. Him carrying on the cover is a lie. Tell me your thoughts. Did you spot the iron lung detail right away? Or was it a shocking reveal? Lois is so used to being betrayed by these love interests, she's not even fazed by the end. Although in all fairness, yes, she was willing to marry him. But even so, she was less passionate about this than some of the other potentials. It's always a good time with classic Lois though. Well, for me anyway, and hopefully for you. Tell me things down below, and thanks so much for taking this time today spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.